Hello, everyone. I'm Denton Davidson for Gold Derby, and I am chatting with Chris Sullivan, who is nominated for his second Emmy for NBC's hit drama series, This Is Us. Chris, just first of all, congrats on your nomination. There's so much great TV, so much competition. How does it feel to be recognized by your peers in the industry again?
It feels really nice. It's always very nice to be included in especially this particular group of actors.
And let's just get right into this because season 5 finale, it's Toby who falls victim to the twists of this series. And there's a 5-year jump, and Kate is getting married for a second time, and Toby's nowhere to be seen. So
Right.
what's happening, and how could they do this to Toby?
Well, This Is Us is a handbook for living. Dan Fogelman has created this kind of handbook for relationship, and he's exploring every aspect of relationship, right? Whether it's between spouses or a parental child relationship or a sibling relationship or whatever the relationship might be. And I think I realized early on, I was like, if he's really going to explore every aspect of relationship, then he's probably going to explore the disillusion of relationship, or the evolution, depending on how it plays out. But divorce or a split was going to have to play into it somewhere, and we all could have guessed that it wasn't going to be Randall and Beth. So that kind of leaves, it kind of only leaves one option. And as painful as it is, I know that it will be handled, with a great deal of respect and love for the characters. So,
And we've seen flash forwards that Toby shows up for this sort of farewell to Rebecca. So we know at least he's alive. So that's reassuring.
that day was a big day for me, where I was like, I'm in the flash forward. I've survived to the flash forward. And yeah, so he's there.
And I want to chat about episode In the Room, which is the one submitted to the Emmys as your best work of this season. It shows the struggles people face in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, with Toby unable to be in the hospital room for the birth of the baby him and Kate are adopting. So he's basically tailgating in the hospital parking lot and meets this other gentleman whose wife is on a ventilator. Can you tell us about filming those scenes and really giving us a glimpse of some of the horror people went through without being able to be in the hospital with their loved ones?
Yeah, I think that this last year has demonstrated to us, if we didn't know already, the importance of in-person human connection. As we all have transitioned our life into this Zoom world, we kind of were able to get a look at what that was like for people who were needing some kind of medical care during the pandemic. And Toby meets this man in a parking lot, played by Michael O'Neill, acting legend. And his wife is in the hospital, struggling with COVID, while Kate is in the delivery room with this young mother bringing a life into the world. And those scenes were really poignant. As we were shooting them, we were all outside, socially distant, wearing masks.
Yeah.
And so the show as it did the entire season, and as I think it had the responsibility to do, reflected back the world that we were all currently living in, and how painful that is, or how painful it can be when we are separated. These two men sitting in the parking lot wondering what's happening inside with their wives.
And it feels real because when they first meet, they're both kind of annoyed with each other.
Yeah.
And then as it evolves, it's almost like they're getting a connection with someone that they probably haven't felt a connection with a stranger in quite a long time.
Yeah, I think the one of the most difficult parts about the last year was not only do we realize that human, physical human connection is what we need the most, but now human physical connection is the thing that is most dangerous for us. It's the most tenuous, it's the most uncertain, it's the most, it's the scariest. And so these two men kind of are already have their guard up. They're already going through something personally that is difficult, but also on a societal level, they're both experiencing the same exact situation.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about Toby and the way that you play him is the comic relief he brings to the show. He sort of sarcastically comments about the Pearson triplet drama throughout the series. And I love this part in the room where he sees his daughter for the first time and compares her to Fabio in his prime.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy doing that sort of comedy as well? Because it seems like a natural flow for you to go back and forth.
Yeah, Toby definitely started out as almost purely purely levity, pure comedic relief for the show. Dan Fogelman pointed out, it's like, Sully, I've been looking back at season 1, and I'm pretty sure Toby was the horniest character in the history of television. He's like, the things that he was saying were just insane. And of course, over the seasons, he's been kind of rounded out, and as is with a lot of people who lead with humor, there's frequently a lot of pain and things that they are trying to guard against. But yeah, I love that aspect of the character, and I love being the vehicle for that in this show, because the show is very funny. Like Sterling is very funny. Justin is one of the funniest actors I've ever worked with. His timing and his subtlety is so perfect. But Toby gets to be kind of the court jester for a lot of moments.
And one of the things about rounding him out, speaking of that, you and I are pretty close in age, and I grew up watching the Wonder Years.
Yeah.
So I was curious what it was like to have Dan Lauria, who played Kevin Arnold's dad, now 30 years later come and play Toby's dad.
Yeah, it was very special. So Dan Lauria and I met back in 2010 when we both made our Broadway debuts in the same play, where he played Vince Lombardi in a Broadway play called Lombardi, and I played Jim Taylor, one of the early Green Bay Packer football players. And of course, we bonded. I still to this day refer to him as Coach. And when I heard early on a few seasons ago that Toby's parents were going to be showing up, I specifically asked Dan, because Dan had also worked with Dan Fogelman, had worked with Dan Lauria on Pitch, the TV show about the female Major League pitcher. And I said, we got to have Dan. Dan has to play Toby's dad. And there was just no hesitation. That's exactly what we did. And and I feel like he's a perfect representation of the father that would have created a court jester.
And this, like I said earlier, is your second Emmy nomination for this series. The show got 6 this year, including Best Drama Series. It's the only major network show in the lineup. So how does that feel to sort of hold down the fort for major network television and be proving continuously that great TV can still be made there?
Yeah, I think it's hard to watch sometimes network television not be taken very seriously anymore. There is a lot of great television being made, but especially This Is Us. The writing on our show is impeccable, and as of yet has not been recognized the way that we all think that it should be. And we are existing and kind of telling stories in a format that is growing more and more difficult to tell a story in. We are in a 5-act format with commercial breaks, We have 42 minutes out of an hour to tell this story. We don't have dragons.
Yeah.
And huge cinematic budgets. So it feels good. That has been the nomination that we all, Sterling and I were talking, that we are most excited about this year, is that the show has been nominated for Best Drama. Because we love this show. We truly love this show. We love each other and we love the show. And we think that it's the best show on network television. So.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, the writing is so good. And even in this episode that you submitted, they try to give you a panic attack, because there's that moment where we think the mother is going to decide to keep the baby for herself,
right,
and crush Kate and Toby's dreams. Thankfully that all works out. But are you always sort of bracing yourself with each script, like what are they going to do next? Because they're so great at going left when you think they're going to go right.
Yeah, I think that the way that this story is handled, and the way that these characters are handled, it's all very delicate, and there are a lot of surprises, but it has never felt to me like it's shock for shock's sake. It is very, it's light. It is life. The title of the show, This Is Us, for a long time I thought, oh, that's the title of the show. Okay, great. I'm now realizing 5 seasons in that is the reaction that the audience has when they watch the show. That's why it was named that. They go, this, I don't know how to say it. This show is not us. It's nothing like us, and it is 100% us. This is us. This is our family. This is our life. This is how it plays out. And it's just the structure of good storytelling and the way they put these stories together that makes this show special, and that makes the way Dan Fogelman specifically tells a story special.
We're heading into the final season of This Is Us, and everybody knows that. Fans are crushed, but I think it's good that we know. So what's been your favorite parts about doing this series, and how does it feel heading into that last season, knowing the farewell is coming?
We've all had a good amount of time to wrap our heads and our hearts around it. It's going to be painful. It will be sad, but to go out this way with such intentionality and purpose around the story we're telling is a real blessing in this industry. To not wake up one morning and find out you've been canceled or not renewed or whatever the deal is, and then people are scrambling to tie up loose ends. This has been the plan all along, and Dan and the writers know how they want this story to end, and they know that they don't want to stretch it out and add a bunch of filler to get more episodes out of it. And that's this is one thing that I don't know if people truly understand, the restraint that Dan Fogelman has to say, I want to tell a good story no matter what. And if that means not running this show into the ground for 12, 13 seasons, then that's what we're going to do. And there's an extreme amount of compassion for his audience, compassion for these characters, and respect for the story.
Well, we certainly can't wait for the final season. And I'm going to tell everyone here watching, I want to encourage you to head over to goldderby.com, make your predictions for this year's Emmys, beat our experts. And you can also check out more great interviews with top contenders like Chris here. Chris, it was great chatting with you about This Is Us today, and good luck at the Emmys.
Yeah, make your predictions, people. If you want more shows like This Is Us on television, then it's time to start giving them some awards.
You heard it.